Hello everyone, welcome to another ODNT Spotlight. My name is Steve DeWinter, and with us today we have wonderful author, editor, artist, reader, fangirl, blogger. She's doing it all. She's getting herself very busy with this. Megan Manzano. And she right now is also an editor for Fantasy Works Publishing, and she's had some short stories published in the Anglerfish magazine, Teen Ink, Everyday Fiction, and she has a new story coming out very soon at Mandolin House. And so let's go ahead and let's switch on over to her. Hello. Megan.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to ODNT Spotlight, where we shine the spotlight on you.
Thank you for having me. This is really exciting. I liked the accumulation of words you threw in to describe me. That was pretty good.
Did I cover everything, or did I leave anything out?
I think you got it. I'm very impressed.
I got it all. All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about the inspiration, the writing bug. How did the writing bug grab you?
I don't actually remember a time that it hadn't grabbed me. I remember being the kid who was like 3 or 4, like just learning how to write, and I started carrying notebooks around with me. I had all of these ideas kind of just, I guess, like coming at me from a young age. I remember like I'd be on the train and I'd be writing something in my notebook. I remember like I'd go on vacation with like my parents and I'd have to write something at the beach, like anywhere. It just kind of happened, which is really strange because neither of my parents are into those things, but ironically enough, my brother and my sister-in-law are. But it's funny, though, to look back at those stories I wrote as a kid, because the imagination was something, although not logical, but it was definitely something.
Something else?
Yeah. There was one story I had with ghosts, alternative dimensions, and then some, like, teleporting. I wish I had that again.
All in one story?
All in one.
Do you still have all these? Because you hand wrote these into notebooks, right?
Yeah, I have them. They're in one of the like a storage cabinet in my closet. I can't even try to get rid of them, but they're very good to look back at and laugh.
I have to move them to a fire safe, just in case. God forbid something bad happens, but move them to a fire safe.
Yeah, you can't touch them, let alone read them, because my handwriting is pretty bad.
So. When we look at that, you've gotten some short stories published. I mentioned some of the magazines, Anglerfish Magazine, Teen Ink, Everyday Fiction, and then your latest, Static, comes out real soon from Mandolin House. So what's it like writing the short stories for this? Because, me, I only do really long, big, giant stories. I can't do anything short. What's it like writing shorter stories?
It's definitely something I get asked about a lot, because a lot of writers, especially on the Twitter community, are into writing their novels and NaNoWriMo and participating in all these writing challenges, and I'm sitting here like throwing out like anywhere from, I guess, 700 words to like 6,000 word stories, and those come easier to me. I guess I like starting in the middle of the story as opposed to building up to like all of the details. Like I throw the details in as it comes along, but I don't, I guess, spend as much time going from the beginning to the middle. I just like starting right where the climax happens and just building to some kind of end, which doesn't exactly work for everybody. So it's something. I guess it's like my sort of niche in terms of writing.
So do you find the shorter the story it is for you to write? Because you've got some flash fiction out there, which is about 1,000 words. You've got a 100-word story that I discovered called Infinite.
Yeah.
That you put out there. And then you are also involved in the Twitter 6-word story challenge.
Yeah. A lot of it for me is, I guess, I get a lot of very short inspiration, and that's easier for me to just put into like 100 words or even 6 words. Like I'll see a prompt and I'll go, oh, I know what to do for that, and then it's out, it's done, and then, it's easier for me in the sense that I guess the muse comes faster, or maybe I'm just like zoned into that particular idea, and that's how I'm able to get it down, because I know like 6-word stories, or it's questionable if you can even call them a story, because you're just like right into, it could be anything, anytime, any place, and then flash fiction, it's a little bit more narrowed, but you can still branch out a bit. It's just like I sort of take whatever inspiration comes and just go with it.
That's excellent. Yeah, because I know I've tried to do those 6-word challenges, and 4,000 words later, I go, I can't pare it down any smaller.
I don't know how to fit this into a Twitter status.
Exactly. 140 characters, impossible.
Yeah, it's rough. You have to pick your words carefully. You have to get some kind of idea going.
But you're known most for doing your shorter fiction and everything, but you're also working on a novel right now.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's been like a year process of kind of outlining things, a year process of sort of trying to throw ideas around, getting where I want my characters to be. It's like I started writing the first chapter on the bus ride to school one day, and I'm like, okay, this is good, and then I haven't touched it in a while. It's this weird back and forth process that I kind of go to and then leave.
But you keep coming back to the story because you have one of the characters won't let you go.
Nope, he won't. Not at all.
And I think I saw his name is Alex.
Yeah, that's been my baby. I kind of started him when I was about 16, and he was in a completely other universe that I wrote him for. And then he expanded into, hey, you know what? You should pick me for a novel. And I pretty much decided then and there that I wasn't going to let him not be the main character of my novel.
Excellent, excellent. And so, what genres do you prefer for reading?
Sci-fi.
Let's go for reading.
Okay, reading. Okay, reading's tough because mainly I'm going to go for sci-fi and fantasy. I like the apocalyptic worlds. I like, rebellious, like, characters trying to take down a government. I like different worlds being created. And so that would also tap a little bit into fantasy. And then there's also, like, the books that I like to read is more of a, like, comfort, which I realistic fiction, or like maybe like a little bit of romance, but not like overly done. Like I guess one of the books that would fall into that category is The Fault in Our Stars, because that got me. It's kind of a mix. I kind of just hop back and forth, but my main genres would be sci-fi and fantasy. They're the ones that I can just get sucked right into.
Excellent. And what do you like writing?
Surprise, sci-fi and fantasy. More so sci-fi than fantasy. I have one short story that I'm working on for fantasy, but like that keeps getting like pushed aside as more sci-fi ideas come along. So I guess I like the whole idea of creating some kind of society gone wrong, that the government kind of messed up on, or like people are trying to figure out what they should do with an alternative situation. Whereas fantasy, I feel like I can't exactly construct an entire world in the same way that fantasy tends to do.
Yeah, because I was looking through at some of your short stories, and the one that's published on Teen Ink called The Last Line, very sci-fi feel to it, and I'm one of the ones, I looked at the comments where they're going, more please, and I'm one of those, more please. I liked how you set that one up. And for those of you who are watching this, if you're watching this embedded on another website, just click the little button down there that says view on YouTube or watch on YouTube, and then you can see the description. I have Megan's website here, and when you go to the website, she has a publication link for publications that she's done, and click on the one for Teen Ink called The Last Line, and read that. I guarantee you will love it.
Thank you.
So I want to know what happens now. It was cut off. No.
Yeah.
All right, no more spoiler alerts. All right. And it's a really short story, so it's one of the ones that's less than 1,000 words or something like that. So it's I want to know more. We all do for that. So while you're writing, I saw that you had a post there on the different things of whether music versus silence. Because I know when I write, I'm listening to Pandora. I don't know. Should I admit this? I listen to the house music.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that.
No, but not from Old Dog. No, I'm listening to all the new stuff. House stuff. I've never been to a club in my entire life. Probably will never go. I'm too old. They won't let me in. But that's what I listen to when I'm writing.
It's definitely catchy. I mean, I can't blame you for that.
It's very fast and just.
Yeah.
So what about you for when you're writing? What is your preference?
Um, I would have to go with silence, or if it's not that, instrumentals. I tend to kind of get sucked into my writing, and if I have music with lyrics or like a heavy beat, I'll get sucked out of that. So instrumentals help, in my opinion, because they kind of can flow along with whatever mood that you have. Whereas things with lyrics or like strong sort of presence takes away from that. And then usually if I'm really, really hooked into something, it's complete silence. I've been told I'm very strange for doing this, but that's just kind of where I've fallen into. And it's always been that way. Even when I was a kid, like I'd just be sitting on the couch, like zoned out for a couple hours with nothing else, no background noise. It's very strange, I know.
Everyone was sure you were dead.
Yeah, that's about right, actually. Especially when I read, too. My parents are like, is she even there? What's going on?
She snuck out. She went to a rave.
Yeah,
Nope, that's
nope,
not
just reading.
her.
I mean, I'm in like some, crazy society where like, there's rebellions happening. I mean, that's probably a little bit more eventful in a way. A little more dangerous.
You were living a much more exciting life.
Definitely.
And so you self-describe yourself as a book addict.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
And so as a result of that, you went and you now work for Fantasy Works Publishing as an editor.
Yeah.
And this helps you feed some of your addiction?
It does. It's very interesting to see like the other side of the process, like how a book doesn't just appear and you kind of ignore the fact of where it came from. I've done editing work prior to Fantasy Works, but Fantasy Works is like my first official job, which is really cool. And it's interesting to see like kind of the process that goes into writing, how it's a bunch of different people sort of getting their hands dirty and working with the story, checking for the little things like those periods, if there are, that misspelling, that typo that you forgot about, and then just how it all comes together and the author gives you the story back, you give the story back to the author, and then eventually you get to a final product. And that helps because, you also get to read things that aren't out yet, which is fun.
You get to read a lot of stuff first.
Yes.
But with all the warts that you help smooth out.
Yeah, it's good. It feels good to be able to know that I helped somebody get to where I hopefully want to be in the future. So
excellent, excellent. And you're also learning some great skills, even though you can never edit your own work.
Oh man, editing my own work is tough. It's kind of like, but I know that this sounds fine in my head. I don't see the problem with it. And then you get like something back, and you're like, oh, okay, now I see it. But it took a while to get there.
You have to be convinced.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's helping you see that there's more to being an author in today's world than just sitting down and you and the keyboard or you and the notebook by yourself and writing, and you're starting to spread out to do more of the things like this interview, more socialization, so that people can see you and see that, hey, I like Megan. She's great. I'm going to go check out her work, and you're very smart in using short stories to start build up your audience so that when you do have a big book release, you'll have 1 million fans all clamoring for it.
Hopefully. I mean, socializing is very strange to me. Like, I guess I would call myself an introvert, and then to throw myself onto all these different websites and share my thoughts and my opinions. It's like, whoa, okay, this is a lot right now. We might need to like go hibernate for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm what I consider an extroverted introvert.
I've heard of them.
I can sit by myself in a room with a book, or even just nothing in my head and be fine. I've never been bored in my entire life. And then I can go out and smooge and say hi and chat with everybody and approach absolute strangers. But I prefer being all by myself, writing usually. That's what I love.
I can relate to the introverted part. The extroverted part is when I have to step back a little. I'm approaching strangers for me is kind of just like stumbling over my own words and hoping they get somewhere. So I commend you for being able to just approach a stranger like, hey, what's up?
It's not easy. It's not easy, but I do it because, again, in today's world as an author, you can't just hide in your cabin by the lake and put out another book. You have to be out
That'd be
there.
ideal.
That would be the best.
It would be just like, oh, new book, here you go, let it get all handled, and then next thing you know, people just read it, but sadly, that takes more work than that.
But we got to get out there and we have to socialize and everything.
Yeah.
So how have you found having to do other stuff? You started your blog on WordPress, you're on Twitter, you just launched your Facebook page, what, a week ago?
I think it's even less than that. I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. It's very recent.
It's brand spanking new. But for everyone watching the video, I had the Facebook link down below. I'm caught up.
You caught it.
We are fresh, brand new, hot off the presses. So you're getting yourself out there, you're getting yourself known, starting to make the connections.
Yeah, it's really strange. Like, I have some family members who are kind of in the writing business with me, and like the first thing that they said to me was, "You need to get this, this, and this." And I'm like, whoa, hold on. What do you mean I need to get this, this, and this? Where do I even start with this, this, and this? And then, I started up my blog when my short story, my flash fiction piece was published in Everyday Fiction, because I'm like, all right, I want to get this out there. I want to kind of start with something coming out. And WordPress done, I went to Twitter. And then just 2 or 3 days ago, I was told, hey, you should give Facebook a try too, just for all the people who can't reach you on the other stuff. And I was like, oh my god, here we go. Here's another account. Here's another thing to have to like shove things at. But it's definitely very strange for me who's introverted, who kind of like doesn't always know what to say about things.
And now you're going to be on YouTube, which has the largest worldwide video viewing audience in the history of humanity.
Oh man, that's pressuring. That's a lot to take in.
They're gonna like turn this off and go hide somewhere and read.
Yeah, just not coming out for 2 weeks.
Where did Megan go?
Mystery. We're still trying to locate her.
So, all right. Now I noticed also on your website you talked about some tropes in young adult and your frustrations with those tropes.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well that post actually stemmed from reading several books in a row where all the plots were a little bit predictable. And they all involved like a love triangle element, or the reason why the character was doing something was because they were in love with someone, or like thought they loved somebody. And I just got to a point where like, you know what, I need to rant about this. I need a blog post about this. I need somebody who understands like what's going on.
Yeah, I have a blog. I should use it.
Yes, I can talk. Who actually like understand what I'm going through. Yeah, it was basically just like, okay, I understand that, people are affected by relationships and are affected by other types of people, but my question was just, why does every single story have to be guided by a love plot, Like, me personally, I felt like a lot of my growth came from just being sort of isolated or hanging out with like 2 or 3 people who like were not my significant others or anything like that. And I'm just like, why is every story having to deal with like, people falling for somebody, or like this beautiful mysterious person, or like this hunky guy showing up? Like, it just felt very like, I don't mind it every once in a while, or if it's done where the main character sort of keeps who they are and like the romantic element helps them, as opposed to them being just swept up and changed by this force. So I just got a little fed up. I had a blog about it. I had to just let it out of my system.
And I like the title you have for it, is the I Love You, No, I Love You More.
Yep, how to make it gooey and sappy.
And we expect that from the romance genre, but should it be in the young adult genre? And that was, I guess, the gist of your complaint.
Yeah, I think for me it was just sort of like, I expected in the romance. I'm not really a huge fan of romance, so I tend to not read it. And then you have, I like YA literature. I'm going to admit I'm a proud supporter of YA. I think a lot of the ideas are very fresh, a lot of very new. But then it just started bothering me where they started making it seem that every YA story has to have a romantic element or some kind of love element, where, I feel like in reality, we're not dealing with all of these kinds of things as a young adult. I mean, sure, they're romantic, they're like relationships involved, but it's not, there's so many other things that I think
but it's not the focus of your life of becoming a young adult.
Exactly, there's so many other things. I feel like it'd just be more realistic if a lot of, like, if some YA just touched more on that, or if it wasn't like the driving force of the novel.
So your big novel that you have coming up, what genre category have you picked for that one?
I would throw it into sci-fi. I don't know if it's YA or adult yet. I think that'll come more with. I think the content of it might be adultish, but I don't know exactly how that'll fall in once that's all put together.
Excellent. So we can expect that in about 15 years.
I want to hope for sooner, but we'll put that as a good time, a good countdown.
A good time to shoot for, and anything sooner than that is just gravy.
Yeah, anything sooner than that is like, yes, I did it.
Well, because you're starting to get more and more of your short stories out there and published and everything, so that's great.
Yeah, I'm really lucky for that. I didn't expect any of that to happen. It just kind of turned into, oh hey, congratulations, we were taking this, and this, and I'm like, oh my god, really? Like the most recent one that I'm coming out, I remember I was with one of my friends in their dorm, and I just started screaming, and he's like, what's the matter? And I was like, this is. I had my freak out, and then I had to go back to, all right, let me click the accept button and make sure this is an actual thing.
Yeah, it's not somebody playing a trick on me.
Yeah, like this isn't, wait, yeah, we liked it, but, you know.
So your newest short story that you're talking about, it's titled Static. So that
Yes.
sounds very science fiction to me.
It's science fiction-y. It's science fiction-y. It's a little dark. It's a little strange. You could say. I tend to write things that aren't exactly normal because it's easier for me, which is, I guess, strange in itself to say.
Yeah, but what I love about short stories is we can get a very broad category, very broad selection of stories that don't fit the mold.
Yeah.
And that's I think what's best about writing short fiction, and that seems to be what you're really drawn to, is not fitting in the mold.
Yeah, I tend to not write about very conventional stuff, I guess, or I tend to put a twist on it that's different than what you would expect. And it's funny because as I look to submit my stuff to all these places, like I try to just get a good gist of what's out there and also like what would fit my work. And there are some places that are like, oh, we want new things, we want things that break literary conventions. And I'm just like, well, great, I'll try you out because my stuff would probably not be handled by anything else. So it's good to see that there are literary magazines and places that are kind of looking for things that aren't stereotypical, and just the fact that a lot of famous authors were considered unconventional and weird when they first got their stuff out, and then it became like classics that you read. So it's
Right, exactly.
you have to just kind of try it, go for it.
Yeah, so in about 40 years, Megan Manzano will be the one that we all go, well, we should write like her because she's got the the pulse on how the genre is. When now you defined it.
Oh my god, that's still way too much pressure. And if that ever happened, I think I'd probably fall off my own chair and just be like, okay, wait a minute, how did I get from like writing in notebooks to this kind of crazy title?
You do that by sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's about right. However we get there.
Excellent. So we were talking a little bit earlier before the show started, and you're a big fangirl of Netflix binging.
Yeah, it's
Now,
it's guilty. I'm guilty.
I know. I sat there, and one of my first tweets that I did when I got Netflix is I watched every episode of Malcolm in the Middle, all 7 or 8 seasons.
Oh my god, that's so funny because I watched that over the summer.
Yeah, it was the first show I watched, and then I tweeted on Twitter and said, one of the few tweets I do. I don't do a lot of Twitter, but I said, just watched all 7 seasons of Malcolm in the Middle. Thanks a lot, Netflix.
It's great though, isn't it? I mean, you just get lost in it because like, oh, half hour, another one. Next thing you know, it's like midnight, and all of a sudden you realize you haven't left your bed.
Right, I could either watch an hour and a half movie or 3 episodes of a show.
And you lean more towards the show.
And then 9 episodes later, you go, I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, see, you have to, but whether you do that is the problem with binge watching on Netflix.
That's true. I say that, but do I listen?
Sadly, I don't think most of us do.
Nope, that's why it's binging. We won't stop.
I think I saw an article recently, like that's an official term now.
Binge watching, yep. Thank you, Netflix. You've changed how we've. Well, you know what? I've always wanted to do that with television.
Just sit there and watch it.
And you could never do it until Netflix came along.
That's true because you either had to wait for like a holiday marathon or it just would happen like prior to a season starting. You know, you don't have the luxury of knowing that you'll have the time to do that.
Right. Now, how has your Netflix binging come into play now that you're doing more writing and more stories? Do you find that now you struggle between writing and entertainment for your benefit rather than creating entertainment for others? How do you balance that?
I think it honestly depends on the day. Because there'll be days where I have so much writing news and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write this, this, and this, and it'll all be sorted. And then maybe if I'm done with that, I'll do like real life things. But then there'll be days where I'm just like, I really want to watch this season, or I really want to watch this. For me, I tend to, when I get hooked onto shows, I just stay with them. So I'll finish seasons in an entire day. And it mystifies people that I talk to because they'll tell me, check out this great show, and then I'll tell them, hey, I'm done. And they go, what are you talking about? The answer is right there. So, I mean, I guess I kind of alternate to both extremes. And that's I don't know if that's a good balance.
So you don't keep an even balance. You go all the way one thing and then all the way the other thing.
Yeah, it's good and bad.
So it's not balanced, it's seesawed.
Yeah, that's actually, that's a good term, yeah. I like that.
There you go. And so that shows your persistence at you're just going to go all the way with it, which is great because then we know that we're going to get some of the best stories from you because you're going to take it all the way and dive deep into the emotion and the character.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. I can't write anything unless I'm extremely inspired, which I know there are a lot of things on like Twitter and just general like blog posts that, you have to write every day. And yeah, I write every day for like things that aren't really like my short stories or whatever. But then when I get the idea for a short story, it's like, all right, we're doing 10 pages a day, like right now until it's done. So
So you've taken the binge category to writing. I'm going to binge write this story and get it done.
Yep, it's moved to that as well. It's just like I get an idea, and next thing you know, that's it. I'm just going to write it out until I run out of the sudden inspiration that came.
That's excellent. So what's next for you? You've got the story that's just coming out now. I take it you must have some other stories out there waiting to hear back from other people.
Yeah, if you were to see my email list right now, the last probably like 10 emails are stories that I've sent out to literary magazines waiting to hear back from. So there's a couple of short stories that I have that I'm trying to get out there. Some sci-fi, some that fall into the sci-fi horror genre, and then there's some that are like a little realistic fiction. So I've kind of tapped into a few things waiting to hear back from. So it's very tracking.
Excellent. So I've covered everything that I've done. Oh, wait, and there's one more thing here. So you've got a thing on Twitter, One Line Wednesdays.
Yeah, I love them.
And I was reading through some of those, and they were really good. I like that. And so are these lines from stories that you've done?
It depends. Some of them come from stories that are work in progress, or some that I kind of started to pick up but then stopped picking up, and then some come from my role playing that I do on Tumblr, which is where you kind of just create characters and throw them into a world with a bunch of other writers who are consistently writing with you. It's kind of whichever muse is the strongest for that day is where I throw the One Line Wednesdays from.
So role-playing on Tumblr, this is the first I've heard of this. Of course, I am an old dog, so I sit here and listen to rave music on my iPod. That's as far as I go with excitement.
I mean, but that's really cool, though. Like, that's interesting. That's a good fact to throw out there and completely break the ice with somebody.
And you drew it out of me. Uh-oh. So what's this role-playing?
It's good.
So what's the role-playing on Tumblr that you do where you create characters?
All right, I'm going to try to explain this as easily as I can. I've been doing it since I was 14. It's kind of how it's kind of like the transitionary thing that led me from just writing for fun and writing as a career, I guess you could say. Basically what you do on Tumblr is there are pages that people create, and they have a particular setting or a particular plot. And then sometimes these people who create it will also write characters for you. And you can sort of pick the character that you like, audition for them, and if they believe that you suited the character, you will have that character to write with all of the other people who have done the same process. So how I started role playing on Tumblr was I found out about these things and I gave it a shot, and here I am 6 years later still doing it. So it's kind of just you have a character in a particular setting and you kind of write back and forth with other writers and you kind of grow in strength. You get like I've taken some of my role characters and made them into my own short stories. So you get a lot of experience on different types of styles, different characters that maybe you never thought of, different types of complexities. It's really fun.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun and a lot of practice for writing.
Yep, if I'm not writing a short story, I am role playing and getting that writing practice in.
So every time you take a break from writing, you're writing some more.
Yep, I just alternate between what source.
And that's when you knew that this is what I'm going to do with my life.
Yep, it came very suddenly. I sort of just had like a revelation after reading my favorite book, I should say, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I need to stop like trying to pretend I'm going to do something else. This is what I want to do.
Excellent. Well, it's good at such a young age you discovered that. You know, a lot of writers, when they wait until they retired from the thing that they were doing to say, well, now I want to write. And you're like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to do it now. Got my whole life ahead of me. Let's do this all now.
Pretty much. I guess it just sort of, I couldn't think of anything else I wanted to do. Like, I threw some ideas around, and then they never stuck the way that writing stuck. So I decided, you know what? This is my focus. This is what I'm going to do. And after I kind of had that thought solidified, that's when I started doing it all the time.
And yeah, your brain said, yes, that's it.
Yes, and all the ideas just came at once, and it was a mess.
That's excellent. That's wonderful. Very cool. Well, I've covered everything that I've got for the questions that I had come across. Before we shut down the interview, is there anything else you would like the fans watching or potential readers of your work to know?
I guess I would just tell any potential fans and future readers thank you for listening to me talk about all these things, and I hope you do follow me because I do have a lot of stuff that I plan on hopefully getting out there. So I just appreciate your time, and I want to also thank you for having this interview and having me.
Well, thank you very much for being on my show. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my other screen. I'll shut down the interview, so don't hang up just yet, Megan. I'll come back to you. We'll chat for a little more.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Megan Manzano, and a wonderful writer and doing all sorts of things and being able to take the short story form and use that to hit on a lot of different things that appeal to her and appeal to the readers as well. So again, check her out I have her website down below, her WordPress website. She's got some really good blogging things there. But I highly suggest clicking on her publications link and checking out the articles that she's had published in Anglerfish, Teen Ink, Everyday Fiction, and the one coming up called Static. I haven't read that one yet, but I read the others, and they were really, really good. Especially click on the one for Teen Ink called The Last Line. That one's very cool. But once again, my name is Steve DeWinter for ODNT Spotlight. Thank you very much for watching and meeting another new author / editor / blogger / fangirl / she does it all and everything. So don't forget to subscribe to ODNT. I got many more authors, artists, actors, musicians all coming up. So you'll definitely want to be informed about those. So thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye.